Ja, det är bra. Det är som det är.
Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll start. We'll say the prayers first. You can go on page number 10. We'll say in Tibetan 2 times. Afterward, we will say in English 1 time. In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon. I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land. Yedang Gurana Mandala Yadara
Oye, 참말로 아니 저거 될었어요. 요새 아니 당 아주 karma 가시는 다리 돈 검적 검절소니. 그래서 지진 로마 이라샤리 검접트는 하고 말이지. 아니 또 많이 다리 돈이 다니 들도 심지탐지 능을리 나르된 두줄로 판투용나 서비 능을리 있잖아. 서비 삼로 땅에 다리 주동돈 더바이는 형지고 말이지. 어디 찾아 내가 많이 봐. 아니 지금 하고 되려고 다른 상황고는 나 광고고는 나를 그 광고고는 뒤랑데 샘도 마향아지네. 한가도 싸로지지.
Good morning, and thank you. Welcome to join me in this morning's Dharma discussion. And I would like to begin our today's Dharma discussion by following the Aryantara meditation. So as we have done it before, so this meditation essentially is focused on the Tara, and however, so if you prefer to focus on or choosing the Aryantara as a separate the body and as the meditative observation, and then the form of meditation you are doing is the deity yoga, meaning that you meditate on your meditation is primarily associated with associated with the deity, in this case Tara. However, if you rather prefer to just focus on, while you are reciting the Aryantara mantra, focus on the compassion aspect of this particular meditation, meaning that just from the depth of your heart, wish that may all sentient beings free from the suffering and the causes of suffering, and just focus on this very aspiration, and then keep reciting the mantra. And this is your meditation or your practice is primarily the meditation on the compassion. And however, and again, as one of another personal choice, if you prefer, just pay close attention or be attentive with this repeated sound or the vibrations of Aryantara mantra itself, and even attempted to meditate the will of the mantra itself, and then that is also fine. So whatever the case or way you prefer to practice the Aryantara mantra, and the essential key point is to be focused and to be single-minded. Do not let anything else distract you.
Yeah. dare so dare so dare so dare so dare so dare so so Dore so de nyerde da jisen roman de jirne roa chi jama lewa de sana ko brso sinjin na ba ji e thurje jin roe nan ma lewa ta de shwa me brso manan da da ba da sa de jo de brndo kan ro sun bo la so ba nyang je sen da dan yer chu 야, 다 같은 그 어떤 막 농구라 시 송아다를 존지 그 농도 정사 송되네. 당 당진 봉아당 전 지원 준비 로 콤브르시 발라 밥데 데터 랑진진 봉아란 드기위 김진 탐지 좀브샤 시 송아다르 다 닌 와르마 일드 몽기 김진 론도니 차등기와 탐실 좀브샤데 줄 코르위 시근라 니와 메정 셰트드 다니엘라 니와 메비실 테 판네 원일 마느 종마니 기우 드라저 와경 신인당 도파니드 만치테 랍드시 코와 따나 니완가양 맘치 시소 도파치위 설 카르츠기세와들 침보베 고 요파남라 셰트드 곰버 돈바는 고파남 바타드 장 시송데스 고파남 바타드 장 시송데스 어떤 파트 로잖아 그렇게 가지고 말이야.
Now please go to your copy translation 93, page 93. So we must preserve in combating the misperception of self and familiarizing ourselves with the concerns for others. Regarding what we must do to give up our self-centered attitude, the text says, subjugate all the reasons for selfishness. We should suppress every instance of attachment and hatred that give rise to exaggerated prejudice about friends, foe, or strangers. The attractive and unattractive. This is because worldly phenomena in general are unreliable, and the relationship between friends and the foe in particular are uncertain. As in the friendly letter says, your father becomes your son, your mother, your wife, and your enemy becomes friend. The opposite also takes place. Therefore, the cyclic existence, there is no certainty at all. In cyclic existence, there is no certainty at all. There is also a saying, construct a fort where the danger is the greatest. It is necessary to meditate on the factors which cause your spiritual practice to decline. The text says, train consistently to deal with the difficult situations.
다 송래데.
됐습니다. 이 나도 너무 매워.
올 고방알리세 드니데 저트라.
그래.
모든 자단디니 당진 봉화도 전지원즈 비 로콤버샤데소 티카르시고즈나 다 셰르브기 차트 콤페트 당네니 냥지기 차트 콤페트 당고레 세고 다 셰르브기 차트 콤페트 당가르 당고르즈나 랑지원즈 바세트 다 메버토 비타와테 시트고리 셰르브기 차가 닥세드 앙앙아드 같이나 지금 semna mandu don tig nga se de kawan de taxi tane so nga se de ranjin ki tripi nga do do chi yo mare ra te me pi chate la samlo yang ton de ne ranjin rang ngo nga se de tak pi tak zum sam chi ma tong man ye ba chi cha so o de ta rang jin jin de chong re do gurs jen chi ur be lo komber sha jen chi ur be lo komba kan de tang gurs na jen nang zum ji ne jitin ji sha shi tham che rang jin tham chi ne ro mong nang go nang wi cha tham che ne nang wi cha tham che ne jen yong go cha rang jin ga yong go cha rang jin nang ne jen zo chi ne ka ti na kom ba na jen chor ji be lo te ne ana tab ji cha de te ol sham ba thong yang ji la so ba ne te kom pe de thong zo tab shi ni te ne so su lo ji ne sang ji san ro lam ro cha da se da ne teni conversagores ta dordina te segurda da danza poa dan jen chinzin gi lo converses so ne sherib gomni topki rang nil te ngot ngism bi goni ene nangwatun du yobi tangni simchi thamjil ne marshi tintan so bi gombi goni nyangji te kompetang gore ta dodo to lo jong niwando dordina te segures.
Okay. So what do we need to know here? Now, the text is trying to, again, help us to recognize that what is the essential cause of all our miseries and their suffering. So when you closely examine the very cause of all the undesirable human living experiences or sentient beings' miserable condition, it is clear that the grasping at self of a person in this particular context is self-cherishment, self-love. That is the root cause of all sufferings. So, since this is the main cause or the solely cause of this suffering, the root cause of the all suffering, so therefore we need to develop a wisdom that is the opposite force, the force which can root out clearly, can deeply eliminate this very root cause of all the miserable experiences. So therefore, the text is, while point out what is the cause of the suffering, and then also simultaneously taught us the way to overcome, to free ourselves from the causes of all the miserable, undesirable living experiences is to develop the wisdom, or to focus on the wisdom aspect of Buddha Dharma. When you think about what is the wisdom aspect of Buddha Dharma, and we are primarily talk about the skillful means aspect. The wisdom aspect of the Dharma here is the clear understanding, the authentic, pure view, or pure understanding that see where we got so messed up, where we misunderstood or mistakenly identified our very so-called selfhood or identity. So the way to develop the wisdom aspect of Buddha Dharma, or pursuing the wisdom aspect of Buddha Dharma, to develop the wisdom that help us to root out the real cause of the suffering, is to examine our perception, our application, and our experience of ourself, or the way we claim, or we identify, or we make statement with a very clear words called I, or me. So we need to, all the time, we need to identify and to clearly investigate that very I. It seems so dear to us, and it's so crucial. So what is I? When we claim I or me, right, what it is, we need to really find out what's really going on. So to focus on the aspect of wisdom aspect of Buddha Dharma, meaning that eventually your investigation or your close critical analysis should take you to the point where you see, so-called I actually is the designated, or this I-hood or self-hood, I means me, actually is the production of a designation. It's being designated. Is the process, is the result of the process of labeling. So it's a mere term or mere name. Is established by the conceptual mind, or in other words, is the production of the conceptuality. When you see, or your examination, your clear critical analysis to take you to this very clear viewpoint, and then you know that what you're mistaken of. At the same time, we also need to focus on the skillful means aspect of Buddha Dharma. The skillful means develop the wisdom, develop the compassion. So by focus on the skillful means aspect of Buddha Dharma to develop a compassion is equally important as to develop the wisdom through the or by the means of pursuing the wisdom aspect of Buddha Dharma. So let me say how we should explain, how we should pursuing and then develop the skillful means aspect of Buddha Dharma to develop a genuine compassion. Well, if you remember that your critical examination, a critical analysis or a close examination about I, where I, the selfhood, the individuality, the self-identity that you claim, right? And you hold on to, and you think that's so dear to you. So, you know, your analysis took you to the point, right? Helped you to reach the conclusion that that very I or selfhood is the production of conceptuality. So you made that conclusion, right? But then, so when you look at the other aspect of the reality, right, of your very existence, that is the appearance. Right? So here, even though ultimately, right, or essentially, the so-called yourself or your identity, your selfhood is the production of conceptuality is superimposed, something that is superimposed. It's been designated through the process of the labeling. But as far as the appearance itself is concerned, here you have this vivid sense of your existence, your mere appearance. And at the same time, you know that others also have that similar appearance, similar empirical knowledge or the perceptions regarding their state of being. So that gives you the reason and justify that you do exist, and so do others, right? But only conventionally, only as a mere appearance. But that appearance, from a functional point of view, it does influence your very experience of life. Similarly, and they strongly affect others as well. So keep seeing this as a reality, then you can generally develop the sense of deep compassion towards others, because now you know. So as far as this appearance of is concerned, and then from this very appearance, as far as the sufferings are concerned, the values are concerned, the benefits are concerned, you know, others are much greater and important than your individual self. And so then you know you develop you have the reason to be very compassionate to others, and then to deal with others with a great compassion. So this combination of skillful means, which is compassion, and the wisdom that understands the true nature of the self of a person, is the path and it's the way which leads you to the Buddhahood. In other words, by developing this the method and with unified with the wisdom, and then they depend upon that power, and then through the means of the practice, then you will eventually become a fully enlightened one. Of course, the developed skillful means or the compassion, and also has other ways to help you to achieve it. For example, like by the process or by meditation, practice meditation of the 7 quintessential instructions of cause and effect, meaning that by reflecting upon how the life is, the individual life is evolved, started, right? So you start with this, take the very experience of in this lifetime, see that, you recognize the mother, and then her kindness, and then and try to develop the mind that you want to return the kindness of her, and then you develop the altruism, the kindness, compassion, the altruism, finally the bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment itself. So this is the essence of the essential message of this so far, the readings that we have done so far.
어떤 자다 단지 봉알라 김춘 탐주 전샤들 김춘다 담비고네 아니 하고랑 다 요 말사 좀 샘낭네 매알 정도 말이지. 근데 다 매와 듭시가를 당 거잖아. 시송하더라네. 단인 파르마 다 아니 직든 디칸나 담봉아 nga nge nyen tang da tang ta pama tang president 소소 텀비 쇼텔라 착바기 뭐 텀비 쇼텔 당와치기 요자 어 차단이 우뜨거든 싸와 코리 마리바 같은 좀 같이 뛰는 거 차단이 우뜨게 실라 테네데 네드그 소라망아 좀 직든 감다나 나용고 자때네 어쨌든 코리 칠라는 게와 요 말이지 나라서 리 담보 나라서 요라멜 따다당 나라서 직든 디감나 이 치사드는 저 로키사드나마다 입던 사때 나라서 리더리 입던 요 말을 아니 리드그 까치까치는 지근에네 니마 지금 남 신론 하고 요 말. 니와메 빠지래. 다 소소 샘세 소소랑 그 샘들라 샘나 나만을 도는 거참 대랑 가정 때를 삼로단 다단도 타주지는 대랑 때 샘는 여러 템로 주다. 어떤다 랑거랑라 입든 때를 지마타바이나 랑거 리땅 샘들라 입든 지트면은 잔라데 아장자들 용토지 요 말와. 대사당 니와 요 말이 셰터터 니와메 자 아니 가도 겨와시마 티델라 소소 파이나 겨와시마 버kin도 다 어디가 네 겨와연 니와 요 말이 겨와하마 다이나 겨와시마 년디kin도 겨와시마 년이나 겨와시마 다kin도 어디가 니와 요 말이 대사다니 대삼로 요고 당전에 샘지 탐질라 샘 동용 차님 그치니 땅 니와 요 말이 소소랑 일랑 입드면들 지금 잠바다 강는 게 와요. 정말 탐질라는 지금 야가종나 야가텔라 쇼지 차당 착받지니 겨울 곰지와며 단테코 랑징 같은데지 친이 그때라고 때랑 근데지 종아를 야고래 디나 텐트 되어 요바지 요 말도 내그 여라템도 그래 삼니 착바 쇼지 마치지 지금 만도비 남바텐데 실로네 깽암바저 차바이나 깽암바텔라 다 텐데지 인기를 다 링암바 서빙원 레월 수도 차당 레워들 종래 이제 텔라 쇼지 텐데 당와제요 말 코텐데 코 랑징 그때나 랑츠바테요 말비 ngô 이제 아니 러비 차 ngô는 저도요 텐데 비나 ngado 야기도 시게 티긴 저와당진 텐데지그래 텐데 삼모 당아이나 아니 청마 지금 차념 거랑진 탐지 지금 라닌 탐질라 차님 듣다 듣거래 아니 서로 동용 주지다 서로 동용도 용토와이나 서로 동용도 가서 샘기 사지로래 서로 동용 착손했더니 샘지 탐질라 차념 그 샘기 따토와이나 더니 르비 지금 형지 겁나 샘지 탐지 차념 그 랑진 탐질라 차념 아니 지금 샴바 동형지 가르고나 아니 따다 용토보라 대차다 때 做公古的结果。
So another part of the important advice which the reasons we have done that we can see is that like we discussed about the importance of the abandonment or achieve the abandonment of grasping at self of person or the self-cherishment. But just to point out the necessity of to achieve the abandonment, the grasping self person, self-cherishment, and emphasize that is the key, is not enough. So we have to develop a clear reasoning and make ourselves through the rational inquiry clearly understanding there is reason, and it is very convincing, and it is sound and solid, sound and undoubtedly true. So when you see the reason that justify, that support you to achieve the abandonment of the grasping the self person or the self-cherishment, then you definitely will pursuing it. You will maintain that very persuasion. So the text lists several reasons for us. The point help us to develop the sense of conviction and give to help us to develop a strong the rational understanding about why it is necessary to develop or to achieve the state of abandonment of grasping a self a person. One of the very obvious, undoubtedly simplest reason that we can apply or use it to help us to develop this strong sense of determination to abandon the grasping the self a person or self-centeredness is by reflecting upon what's going on in our entire life or what happened so far in our life. So if you apply your true living experiences, examine the status of it and the qualities of it, then you see that throughout the life, just as far as the relationship, our human relationship is concerned, we know that we've been sort of struggled or shifting between the enemy, the sense of a group of people or individual as enemy, and a group of people as the individual as friends or the most beloved ones, and the neutral ones. So that's what our living experience is, right? So far, the people, individuals you have met, or you had any kind of a form of contact, you know that this is how you come through. Right? And whenever that any individual who sort of support you and do you a favor and sort of align with you, take your side, and you will name that person as a friend, a beloved one. And on contrary, if anyone who opposes and challenge your desire or the things that is so important to you, it means a lot to you, and then you will label or recognize, consider that individual or group of individuals as your enemy. So at the same time, those who are neither helping nor do harm, and you will, generally speaking, will neglect them, or consider them as someone who is neutral. So we are repeatedly talk about the roots of the samsara, the root cause of this repeated pattern or the circle of the death and rebirth. You know, we say that is the avidya in Sanskrit, or ignorance, or unknowing, or mistakenly identified or informed the views and the thoughts and understanding. So it's because our basic condition is samsara, and the cause of this very living experience in itself is the samsaric, meaning is a result in the avidya, the ignorance. So therefore, our living condition basically, whatever the phenomena or experiences and the things, events that occur or taking place in your life, which is naturally part of the samsaric phenomena, belong to the categorization of the samsara. And so therefore you must to know that your condition, you've been sort of conditioned in such a way, such an imperfect, right? Such a limited sort of imperfect the status, and so therefore you can't really trust or place your mind to someone or something fully heartedly, or give that sort of considers the ultimately true or unchangeable. In fact, so if you examine this way, in order to survive, we do have to have some kind of trust or the sense of belief, right? A sense of sort of reliability, or take a particular thing that is reliable and trustworthy. So among everything that you place such a hope, trust, right? And probably your body is the most important phenomena, or the elements, or the thing that you trust the most, and you cherish the most. But look at what you cherish for, and what do you really trust in? The status of that very object, your body, that you trust the most. Again, so you examine the effort of the exam itself will tell you, even though you trust it, right? You think your body is the most reliable thing that you can find, but your body is changing moment by moment, right? And it's changing, keeping changing, and towards the point of vanish, of perish. So you see that the body that you trust the most, you think is the most reliable thing, which is actually it's not as reliable, as trustworthy, as something you can place your whole heart on it. Why? Because it is impermanent. And secondly, so we probably trust our opinions, our experiences. In other words, our mind acceptable the body. In other words, we're willing to trust our own judgment, our own mind, right? Our own living experiences, our knowledge. But again, you know that we formed opinions and probably in the previous occasion, or last month or last week, but later on, and we find that the knowledge or the mind that we developed, the thought we have, the opinions that we hold very strongly, right? Actually, is not reliable. It's not that much trustworthy, or is can be fully is not 100% trustworthy. So we have to make it some kind of ramification, change it. So then we look at the shift our attitude, our exam, expanded our range of our exam into from our body to mind, and then to the external phenomena. Let's say your relation, the external the phenomena, such as the relationship. Right? When you look at examine our relationship from the reincarnation point of view, right? Or put it into the within the framework of samsara, you know that as text point out, and your father of this lifetime probably has been or was your son, or maybe will be your son in the next lifetime. And your friends of this lifetime may have been your enemy, or could be your enemy later on in this very lifetime. So, and then the relationship, so-called families, friends, and or neutral ones, again, is very much unreliable. There's no any certainty there at all. So understand this and see this is the case. This is the actual reality. Then it should help you to develop the mind of true equanimity. So this true equanimity is the sense that you are now and have developed a form of attitude, or developed a spiritual mind. That mind is that still acknowledge whoever doing good to you, and something nice, and something that is very sort of appealing. Right? And it doesn't change the general basic sort of conventional understanding of those the things in the phenomenal world, but the something is critically is shifted view from the right to left is that because you develop the genuine, the mind of equanimity, so therefore, when you see those beautiful things, or someone who really been so nice to you, or did a very nice thing to you, right? Treat you
It's 11 o'clock.
Great respect, and they did a great favor to you. You recognize that, okay? You appreciate it, but you would not develop attachment to it. Right? You will appreciate it, and you recognize that, you enjoy it, but you will not have attachment to that very beautiful thing, or that particular individual or group of people who did you a bigger favor. Instead, from this state of mind of equanimity, and you will know that this happens is because of dependent arising, right? There's no really anything substantially sort of inherently within it. It's just conditions occurrence, right? It's worth to recognize, appreciate, but definitely has no any reason to consider that as something as eternal or the absolutely sort of self existent and truly existed entity. So with this, and you will free yourself from the sufferings caused by attachment. Similarly, by developing this strong mind of equanimity, a genuine equanimity, so when you're encountering or running into the situation where people against you and curse you and say the things which is very rude and undesirable, but they did even they set up some kind of scenario against you, right? Because you develop such a genuine the mind of equanimity, and you again will not experience a strong aversion or frustrations, and you will not become hateful. Why? Because it's a strong state of genuine state of mind of equanimity that gives you the reason and tells you that it happens. It's just occurrence. Okay? This occurrence, this thing happening is because of dependence with arise as a result of dependent arising, meaning that there are lots of causes and factors involved, and one of the causes in a particular way involved with your previous action, like the karma is caused by the karma, and for that reason, so you are now encountering such a challenging or undesirable experiences. So you will treat this undesirable and negative life experiences like the way you treated the changes of 4 seasons, right? We know that the 4 seasons keep changing, right? And you wouldn't really develop a particular sense of aversion or the particular sense of attachment to it, or try to control it, right? It's because you know that's the way it is. It is nature, this natural process. So anyway, let me just say a couple words about the importance of this equanimity, the mind of equanimity. So mind of equanimity is essentially about involved with the feeling. Right? The feeling that where you sort of experiencing, right? All sentient beings, right? Equally important, and you see no any distinctions between any particular individual, between any particular individuals or the groups. So you view all of them as equally and as the same, and so this will give you a strong, genuine reason to develop this is very strong feeling, the pure feeling of equanimity. What further will help you and give you the strength and reason to develop the kindness and compassion.
어딘서 따단다데 능이 가정 롱시세데 오마 다좀 바지 페송이 못성즈가 좀 못성디 능라네 볼라 지금 안보나 보지 좀네니 샤 냐샤직 사네 다운이 되지 고카드나 치지기 냐디 샤 르파드 파 사니 다운이 되지 지금 못성즈가 다좀 바드 페소 페네네 다좀 바드 원시 파즈니 되니 코페 심나 교화로긴 다 교황하마게 네던로 차종 키워서 언니도 코리닐라 다 다이얼소 그런 셈당ning 아주 에너지 교화기야지 뭐들 강이잖아 아니 파샤 사샤 말라 차 땡인도 ponterlang 지튼들라 아니 다 삼루땅나 치다다다 망고라 셈니 땅 교화땅니 기세 디 돈도 치시고 저는 호마니 무성데라 아니 발라지요 발라디 야로트나 치지고 치디는 같은 냐존이 소화하고서 냐존이 소화하면서 고교시마다가랑 냐기당서 냐기 때문에 다 무슨 그 냐기니 냐기 좀니 샷사고서 샷사네 리파페서디 치드는 그런 남가 아마도 동네 다 낭들 신석지에서 낭들 셈차에서 신석지디 차비톱기에네 치기당서 미기 겨울에 맞도 치기와질랑전에 치더니 샤사 된 건들 받다 그런 거 당 오늘 겨왕하면 조가되게 남버시와다 컨트 디겨와 되게 냐기와는 뭐 디그 샤 차더라 어디사기 그러지 딱 그런 거 지원은 준비 로나 보고 지워때 그런 거 띵은 때 그런 거 아니 김일 요참 미좀 봐지고 가우 요참 디용이 그때 이마시 하고네 서당소 서당 요 다우더니 딱 언제 그런 다우로 다데 그런 다 김일라 착비 돕기 시작거리디 보이기 당도 딱 그런 김일라 착비 돕기 코 디고 보이기 이제 디 김이 보기어서 그런 거 붙여서로 딱 그런 거 지어좀네 아니 방단냐 당데 그런 거 교황 마사당 그런 거 띵 교황하마도 그런 거 사당 주고 김이가 어들서 진짜 단직된 그때 단직된 디 감나 안에 오늘 동네 지금 능이 년이 능이 드라이언스야 예완로 지금 다 네급 단로 좀아도 알아서 셈비당나 텐트지 코텐나 지금 베랑스 빠져 파슈나요 삼바지요 텐데 요 말이 어때 셰고 놀도시나 데라 삼로 땅아이나 아니 저땅 삼바 동용치 타와지 니네 인직든들 예든 담보지네 지금 배 착신데 쇼지 담보 드라이나 데카티나 컨트롤 코드 다 디탐바단 다마임바 근데 인연이나 디당 탐바든 인연이 위험에 받든자다 차당 이유도 파 고용 벌지 삼바 동용치 타와 반도 요르시다 뜻이고 다 달기 롱띵 것 디 같이다 롱드냐 당당 되어도 어또
So
작성
to make this point get clear about the way to develop a sense of to develop a clear wisdom and to see the true nature of the selfhood or individuality, and at the same time also to develop the clear sense of compassion, and by all kinds of and by rely on and develop all kinds of clear and logical reasonings, and and also in the as it then turns your attention to try to set up a goal that is to achieve the abandonment of the self-cherishment or self-grasping as a self-person. We know we have talked about you need to develop all the reasons, right? Not just say, oh, attachment to self and self-love and grasping as a self-person is the cause of all evil, and it's not sufficient. You have to develop all the reasons, right? So among the ways to develop a reason, and we have discussed about from the change of the uncertainty, and by understanding the samsara, the nature of the samsara, which is not just misery but uncertain, and uncertainty is the true status or nature of our very conditioned living experience. And So as the text says about the father and the son and the enemies, friends, that reminds me about a story back to ancient India, which clearly addressed whether the author or the author put and the message of the very petition. The story is like something like this. A long time ago in ancient India, a family who there's a family and the family has the husband and the wife and the mother and son. So one day, Arhat, a highly accomplished individual who understood the true nature of the individuality or the selfhood. His name, the title is on the title of Arhat. So who went to that family, and because this Arhat who have because his status and the spiritual the qualities that he has accomplished or achieved, so therefore he naturally has the clairvoyance or the power of the foreseeing. So what amazed him is that when he entered that house, he saw a mother who held a baby, a boy, in her arm, and there is a dog at the door, and the dog is known, I guess, and but try to get us a meat from a piece of bone. So the dog is working on the piece of bone, and the mother who is hold a baby. I'm sorry, it's not a mother. It's a man who holds the baby in his arm. So from his clairvoyance, what he saw is that actually the bone of that dog is eating previously is his husband, because the husband in the village at this point seems, according to the story, is a fisherman, or in some ways they live by the water and depend on the fishing and make a living. So the father was the fisherman, and he died as a fisherman. Then he got reincarnated, reborn into that family, and so the dog is previously that is the reincarnation of that fisherman's wife. In this lifetime, she was born, become a dog. And then that very baby, the man who holds on his arm, actually is the reincarnation of his previous foe, meaning that someone who had an affair with his wife in the previous life, as a result of that bad relationship, and then that man was so mad, angry, so he killed that out of jealousy. He killed his wife's the lover. And then, because that man, he was has so much attachment to this man's wife, after he died, dead, then he reborn into this family, and then become the son of that very murderer, the man who killed him in previous lifetime. So now, in this lifetime, the boy, he holds on his arm and seems to has great affection for him. In fact, there was the serious enemy in his previous lifetime, actually the lover of his wife. So this Arhat happened to see such a scenario of father a fisherman and after dead, and then he become an animal, and then now so the mother is turned into a dog and eat his try to get some meat from the bone of his own husband, and the man who holds the baby actually was the one who he hated so much in previous lifetime. So this scenario causes Arhat deeply a sadness. So he comments something that I can read through. It's very beautifully written. However, the point is that no matter what and how much you love, how much you cherish, and in the samsara, in our conditioned earthly life here, there's no such thing called a forever lover, and or something that's substantially inherently and built in, so you can 100% sort of trust or rely on it. The things are very much conditioned. So therefore, the advice is that take this story in the context, and then think about the uncertainties of the life. So to know that even though we need to cherish, we need to respect, follow all the commonly agreed social, moral, ethical norms, but meanwhile, at the same time, we also must know that our attitude towards any social relationship, social norms, a relationship, a conventional assess of life must put in the context. We do have to remind us from time to time that we should never have any attachment to it, and based on the misunderstanding. If I mistakenly think that it can be lasted forever, and that is something exists by itself or operating under its own power. We must to know that and there's no such a thing with operating under its own power, and the things, events occurring and or taking place and then decline, all these are dependently arising. So therefore, with this, keep this in your mind, and keep that in the context, and then you will help you tremendously to overcome the problems of hatred and attachment. Meaning that you know that the things that you own, events that you appreciate, religions you have or you developed, all of them are, is enjoyable, it has its own importance, but to think of them is permanent, and try to never they last forever, and then that is the unreasonable, and that is something that's only attachment does, but it's not how actually things are working. So therefore, understand this story right fully, and develop a strong, genuine, the mind of equanimity is the essence or the true spirits of the story.
오야, 다 좋아요. 나 좋아. 동네 미치. 나 정말 그럼 같이 봐도 mek. 좋으면은.
So I wonder, and do you have any questions for me? We still have a few minutes.
잠깐. 야, 다 맨날 나를 먹는 덕인다.
So if you have no question, I'm going to rush through and recite in the Lamrim prayers for Lamrim.
야.
Okay, Stacy,
야, 뭐.
can you make the announcement?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Geshe Lakunga and Tenzin. If you would like to make a donation for this teaching, it would be very appreciated by the monastery and the monks. And you can do this by calling 812-336-6807 or by emailing the temple, which is at tmbcc.kcl@gmail.com. And also, the center is very happy to announce that Geshe Gyatso will have a class starting on June 16th. And he will be teaching the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life at 2 p.m. on Sunday. I'm sorry, it's June 13th. Wrong day, June 13th, Sunday at 2 p.m. And our translator again will be Tenzin. And then on June 16th, Geshe Khaosang will have a meditation, and that will be from 6 to 7 p.m. with Tempa as translator. So
Registrations requirement.
lots of events. Thank you.
Stacy, registration for the Zoom class.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, registration for Geshe Khaosang is required, so please email the center at tmbcc.kcl@gmail.com to let them know if you will be there. And this is for the meditation on June 16th. And Geshe Gyatso's will be similar to today's teaching. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook Live, and on Zoom. And so if you would like to Zoom, email the center if you're not doing that presently.
Stacy, can you say the times just one more time?
Yeah,
That was the part that I missed.
Okay,
Thank you.
Geshe Gyatso's class will be starting next Sunday, which is June 13th at 2 p.m. And Geshe Khaosang's meditation will begin, that's a Wednesday, on June 16th from 6 to 7 p.m. And for that class, you need to register in advance. Okay, thank you.
Stacy, do you know that what Geshe Gyatso is going to teach, and if you know, can you also
Yeah, Geshe Gyatso is going to teach the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And Geshe Khaosang, it will be a meditation, teaching class on meditation.
Thank you.
Stacy,
Yeah.
is that going to be a continual thing every Sunday?
Ms. Gyatso?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Lo me ma ri ke lo ro nam de ya vi om bo don de ma so bi che ro gan de Jang bi yang ji zi wi ji zong bi ren ba gen zang lang ji nie ne zhe bi yan nang ye xi sheng 让业之人多别浪也难，是长最为长为当归，若为业界门把生息。要为当把也让人知，把人亲手给马球，家家娘们儿今儿为兄弟。娘子千步要入主宝衣，旁地所闻是本上，随即要为毛兄成立。这上修浪接人比较，他多难接有老火的上，要为着保让的中间去。浪藏着被藤间之西上，个见谁是么当么个，若干的要为我报应。nam dang zhao er ma zhi gang zi ta ba shou la chi zhu ci zhen zhen la zhong ba di yi ci 特的南街道的中西，扎西洋松树根将军之，藏为喇嘛人不知，当初宁可把米当人了。 cả trên trên bộ của nề chỉ dùng để cơ song để biến nghĩa trở ra de số trong chữ xem cho人不知嘛接把那接人去给我娘把没本用功的功德陪我手 Gong re ra we kor we shang gong de pan dang de wa ma li jong we ne zhen wa dan zhen yang zo ye sha be san de par de dan yer ju ja bo ba wo zhe de qian ba dang gen de zang bo de yang de zhen de Te to kan je je se dong lu zhong ge wan de to tam zhi rao de ngu Te sumo sha be ya wa tam zhi je ngu wa gang lan zhou de ngang ba de gi ye sa wan de gen jiang zong lu zhi shi ra de ngu er ji pan di zhong ni dan ba dar shang ji dan zhen jie wu tam zhi gen gen zong li zhen gen la de jie zhong wei ni sang ji dan ba da de ji ji ju cai ru gen de ya wa zong ga wei当初新人你身在北的家为我被那上的你的，不就这样都不嘛的。Okay, thank you, Tishi.